So when I posed, this being the concept for the podcast, I thought the most interesting conversation, we get these three teams out of the way. If there's any, because these are the three. I don't think you'll find anybody whose three isn't these three teams, pretty much. Who is the true number 4 contender in the NBA? And I think there is a wide variety of choices to make.
Let me spam on screen just my potential contenders, and then y'all can argue about who to bump up into true contender.
All right. Okay.
Grizzlies obviously got to go there, unironically.
Obviously.
Nuggets definitely
into potential
there.
contender. Nuggets into potential contender.
Yeah, Knicks into potential contender. Bucks, although they have Doc Rivers, they also have Giannis, potential contender. Mavericks, they're kind of having a bad season, but if health all works out at the end, they still have a real shot.
It's Luka and Kyrie are both out, and Derek Lively just got a 3-month injury on top of that. Like, they've been having it rough, but if they can put it together in time.
Gafford had like fucking 30 a week ago. He went like 15 for 17. Like, he went berserk. But anyways, Rudy, go ahead.
And then I think that's where my list of true potential contenders might stop.
I want to throw one more in there. Put the Clippers up there.
Yeah.
Rockets is interesting. Rockets is interesting.
I just think if you're putting the Clippers
if we're being
up there,
liberal,
you probably got to put the
I
Rockets
can put the Clippers, the Rockets, the Wolves, the Suns.
The
Pistons.
No,
Pistons,
no, not the Wolves or the Suns. That's bullshit. No.
And I don't know if I'd say the Timberwolves are a dark horse either. Maybe the Suns.
Man.
They got Kevin Durant.
Nah, man. Okay, so that's 7 teams. Who do you guys like out of those 7?
Okay, so we've done a lot of shaking up for our audio-only listeners. Now in the potential contender category, we have the Grizzlies, the Nuggets, the Knicks, the Bucks, the Mavs, the Clippers, and the Rockets. So Jaylen Green went on a 8-game heater where he had at least 25 in every single game. And so Alex, how do we spin this? If you and I were the poster childs of like, this guy, the month of March is when Jaylen Green fucking heats up. What is this right now? And is it a precursor or is he getting it out of the way early?
I was going to say, there's 2 different ways you could look at this. You could either look like he prematurely ejaculated or or he's just going to
That's why we got to talk about this. Yeah, because either he could be putting up fucking 40 in March at this rate, or he used up all of his basketball fuel too early, and he's going to burn up in the atmosphere when we get to March. What do you think it's going to be?
I mean, this feels more sustainable, which I kind of feel like that's become a buzzword, where you see a player do well for like a hot stretch of games, and you're like, this feels sustainable. It's like it sounds like it means something, but it doesn't actually mean anything. But this feels sustainable, just in the sense that it's not him having to do all the creation for himself, and he's just getting hot and shooting like really well on super contested, like off the dribble pull up 2s and stuff like that, and pull up 3s. It's more of a scenario where, Amen Thompson's going to be facilitating the ball more. Fred VanVleet's facilitating the ball more. And Şengün's going to be operating with the ball in his hands more. And Jaylen Green's just kind of playing within the flow of the offense. And that's why it feels a little bit more sustainable, just because it's not just like a stretch of tough shot making where he gets hot for 15 games. It's like, no, he's just knocking down spot up 3s, which, above all else, it's like, are you Jaylen Green? Are you knocking down your open 3s, and are you attacking closeouts and getting the rim and finishing? Because that's like 10 to 15 efficient points right there per game. Everything else is just gravy. So, we could talk about how much of a passing presence he's going to be. We could talk about how much of a defensive presence he's going to be, although he does give effort. I'm like, he's efficient on less offensive load than he's had in the past. And the fact that it's happening now kind of makes me feel like it's more a byproduct of the team's overall success rather than just him getting hot.
What if Jaylen Green just takes like so long to warm up? Like, it just takes him a comical amount of time to, like, actually be ready to play NBA basketball. But if he heats up in time and the team is good enough, he can just be, like, a superstar in the postseason.
You'd probably never hear from me again for starters.
Yeah, that's my working theory is, like, there is a non-zero chance Jaylen Green is just, like, hits his stride just in time for the postseason, where previously he's hit these strides and the team wasn't quite good enough to get there. I don't know. I haven't watched a ton of his games recently. I only have seen one of them, so I can't really comment.
I put it in the private chat, when Alex was talking about Jaylen Green breaking out immediately, because every time I think about Jaylen Green having success, it's Steven Adams. Steven Adams is the best guard unlocker, big man in the NBA. Dude helps out his guards about as much as any.
The best?
You heard him. You heard him.
Heard
okay.
of
Keep
Nikola
going,
Jokic?
No, keep going, Rudy.
Russell
Get your
Westbrook
shit
is
off.
doing well. It doesn't fucking matter. Jaylen Green can go from being totally butt cheeks to you saying maybe he's a superstar because Steven Adams is.
Hold on. No. Who said he's a superstar? Who here said
Jacob?
I was joking.
Ago.
I was joking.
Yeah, but
first
even
of all,
in jest, it's like still Steven Adams. Okay,
brother, he plays 11 minutes a game. Shut up.
Yeah, those 11 minutes are the ones where Jaylen Green is getting wide open looks.
Cool, buddy. All right, let's move on.
Well, okay, but do you guys feel good about them being in potential contender, or do you want them moved down to dark horse?
To me, the only thing that holds them back is, like, do they have the scoring / shot creating? And if Jaylen Green is doing those things, then they do. But if he's not, then they don't. So I'm kind of, I don't know. I think it depends a little bit too much on how good Jaylen Green maintains.
I actually disagree with Jacob. I agree with the conclusion you arrived at, but not the rationale. They are too reliant on points off of turnovers, fast break points, and second chance points. If you look at where they rank in those things, they're like top 5 in all 3 of those, which is a good thing. It's not a bad thing at all.
Yeah.
They're like 25th in half court offense. Their offense in the half court is awful. And that's just like, that's not me hating on them. That's just it is what it is. Like, you can be mad at me all you want. Their half court offense is not good. That being said, the age old question is, in the postseason, we talked about it with the Grizzlies years ago. Their half-court offense wasn't very good, but they were really good in transition. They were really good at forcing turnover. We did it with the Thunder, too. Their half-court offense was, they were a better half-court offense, but it was relying on, like, tough shot making and all that stuff. But they generated a lot of turnovers. They could get out and run in transition. The age-old question is, can you get away with that play style in the playoffs? And time again, we kind of get to the end of the playoffs, and we're like, wow, that didn't really work out. So for the Rockets, it's like, well, maybe they'll be the first ones to kind of make it happen. I don't know. I like the Rockets. I'm not saying I hope it works out for them because I'm an OKC fan. I don't want to see the Rockets beat OKC. But point being, they're not a finished product.
I kind of think you could view them similar to OKC last year, where it's just like, you guys are great and you'll probably not be bad, but probably not this year. Let's be honest, not this year.
Like, let's win one playoff series.
Right. I think we're jumping the gun a little bit with them. So I think maybe dark horse is better. The Clippers are the one that's
real quick to put a button on the Rockets. Yeah. I say all of this about their half court offense and look at the numbers, blah 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 blah. Jaylen Green, can he stay hot, et cetera, et cetera. I do, as an OKC fan, they are the last team in the Western Conference that I want to run into in the playoffs. I do not want any part of them at all. That series would stress me out, and I would be concerned.
I don't remember who it was. A talking head was recently saying the same thing, but about San Antonio. Does it ring a bell for any of you guys?
No.
I'm not being funny.
Yeah.
That no, I don't know. With Wembanyama in the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't know who you're referring to. Wemby's gonna be great. That roster is so bad beyond Wemby. I think it's gone under discussed because they're in the playoff conversation just because of how good Wemby is. But the fall off between best player and second best player on the Spurs is maybe the most significant one in the entire NBA.
It's like when Michael Jordan, what did he drop, like 60 plus against the Celtics in the playoffs? 63 and he lost. That's how I feel about Wemby right now, like heading into a potential Wemby playoff series. It's like, yeah, he's going to have his Michael Jordan appearance where like Larry Bird after the game is like, that's like God disguised as Michael Jordan. That's kind of how I feel Wemby's going to be, where, yeah, they may not win a series, but Wemby's going to average like 30, 40, whatever, and
it's gonna
look
be
like an absolute demigod.
It's going to be
Did
fun
you
and
guys
memorable.
see, well, I know you would have seen this, just speaking about Wembanyama and the Spurs. So a week or two ago, Wembanyama does the cutest jersey swap that you've ever seen in your fucking life with like a little ass kid. And then as of a couple days ago of this taping, the dad has already put Wemby's jersey on. That sucks, man. Flipping that jersey. That sucks so bad.
I saw Wemby quote tweeted.
Did he?
He was like, "How are you gonna do me like that?"
Oh, that makes me so. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you give the family the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they were in a bad spot, and that is a valuable jersey, and yada yada yada. But it does just stink to see that.
I don't know. Being able to get seats that close, they were probably doing fine.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Yeah, I don't know.
Sword.
What did you just say?
I said that's a double-edged sword, isn't it? Be like, oh man, maybe this working family needed the money, but then it's like, on the other hand, how bad did this working family need the money? How hard do they really work? It's that kid should have had that thing up on his mantle and been like, maybe this will pay for my college in 20 years. I can cash in on the Wemby stock when he's the GOAT and not the potential GOAT. This is just a bad time, like purely financially, bad time to cash in on this jersey. So there needed to be a level of desperation in order to justify it.
It would be like
some people are greedy. Some people are just greedy.
It's like people who sold their Bitcoin in like 2014 and 6 years later, they're like, fuck, man. Oh, shit. But okay, so let's start wrapping on the door on this segment. I don't know how many of these teams you guys want to focus on, but I do want to spend a little bit of time on the Knicks. Because for all intents and purposes, the cat thing is working, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been weird. I think it took them a while to find their stride, and because of the slow start associated with that, they kind of disappeared from the conversation. But every time I've watched them recently, I'm like, dude, they can do something. I still think Cleveland and Boston are better, and I'm pretty fucking confident in that, and I think that is working against them. But like me personally, it is between the Knicks and the Grizzlies for my pick for number 4 for who would actually be a
I don't think you could put the Grizzlies in there just because Ja is a fucking liar. He won't stop dunking. He's a fucking liar. He's hurting his team. So the Knicks, as far as I'm aware, don't have any liars on their team, so I would give them the advantage.
Yeah. I think it was the McHale struggling early, the perimeter defense not really being good enough early. Jalen Brunson, his offense was a little bit questionable. Like Cat's scoring was like kind of the only thing that was going the way it was supposed to at the start of the year. But since then, pretty much everything else has caught up, and I think the Knicks are the thing about the Knicks that I enjoy. I've never seen a roster that I could compare it to. I can't think of a pairing of your 2-star offensive players and then like 2 of the most versatile 3-and-D wings in the NBA. You know, you can make it 3 if you throw Josh Hart in there. The 3 on him is a little inconsistent, but like, just like, 3 do-it-all wings plus 6-foot point guard who posts up all the time and center who is like primarily a floor spacer. It's just a weird roster construction, but it's super enjoyable and unique for that reason. I think depth is what'll get them. Depth is their problem.
Isn't that why they lost to the Pacers last year? Is they just got so hurt that they were just throwing out.
They can't really afford even one guy going down, because then you're playing a scrub 20-plus minutes a game.
Right. Alex, you've been crickets anytime the Knicks come up. When you hate the fucking Knicks, what's your problem?
No, I don't hate the Knicks. It's just everyone says everything that I would have said about the Knicks before I can say it. So I have nothing to add. I think there was a graph that was posted. You guys know I love my graphs, of the most used lineups and how many minutes they've played. And the Cat, Hart, Anunoby, Bridges, Brunson lineup is like far and away the most played lineup in the NBA, and it's like not even close. So like those guys, you know, you can't avoid. Some people are superhuman and they just have genetics to where it's like you're not gonna get hurt. But most people, even professional athletes, is like after a certain point, your body will start to break down. And I think the Knicks, it's like at some point somebody's gonna have to start getting rest, because otherwise I don't see all 5 of these guys making it through, however many games are necessary for them to win a championship or, win the Eastern Conference Finals and make it to the finals. It's like you need everyone healthy.
Yeah.
They've been healthy so far, but it's like it's a house of cards,
How many top 40 guys do the Knicks have? You got Brunson, you got Cat, that's 2.
I don't know. Who do we feel is better between Mikal and OG? Because Mikal has more creation ability. I think OG is a little bit more reliable and consistent defensively.
I've seen Knicks Twitter clowning OG as a defender this season in the background, where it's like, oh, of course he's getting blown by this guy who gets 3 minutes a game. Apparently Knicks fans are bought out on OG right now. I was thinking Josh Hart, honestly.
There we go.
He's got
I like the take. I like the boldness of the take, but
I mean, Josh Hart's not top 40, if that's the question. I think Mikal has a conversation, and then Brunson and Cat are, so maybe 3.
Would you put Josh Hart like top 46, top 47? Like, how far outside of the top 40 is he? I think he's a top 47 player in the NBA.
That was really good. So it's top 47.
He might be. I don't know.
You really ran the numbers. You're like, I can name 46 players better. Exactly.
Well, I'm not saying he's 47, but yeah, he's got to be somewhere there. So I feel good about putting them in true contender. I think they're really fucking good. And I think that, because like if we look at those 4 teams that are up there at the top, and it's I guess 3 of them are in the East, so the mental exercise that I wanted to do didn't work. What do you think is narratively the coolest out of the Cavs, the Celtics, the Thunder, and the Knicks? If we're calling them the true contenders of the NBA, narratively, which one do you think would be cooler if they actually did it? I'll make my case very, very briefly. I don't think I believe this, but I'm just throwing it out there. I think the Cavs doing it post-LeBron and being able to have an identity post-LeBron in a very concrete, stamped way. We didn't need that fucking guy. We won a championship. Not say they didn't need him, but you know what I mean. I think for the first time in 25 years to have success as an organization without him being in the building, I think would be pretty cool.
Yeah, and to win a title 7 years removed from him leaving, it didn't even take a decade for you to do it again. That is extremely impressive. The Knicks one is, I don't know if I want people from New York to be happy, so that is a tough one.
But the team is so fun.
I really do love the team. It'd also be cool just to have the Knicks win a champion. Like, yeah, the New York Knicks won a championship. It's not 1970, whatever the fuck. They just won a championship legitimately. It'd be cool. I think I want to say Cavs because I love a team that kind of comes out of nowhere. Especially the discourse around that team being very light, and the discourse that you did here was like, all right, are they going to keep doing this? Is Donovan Mitchell going to stay there? Are we blowing this team up? What's happening? So to me, the complete out of left fieldness with the Cavaliers, I wouldn't have categorized them as a contender going into the year. I think I would give it to them as my favorite option personally.
Alex, can you spin one that isn't Oklahoma City, or do you believe that it's Oklahoma City?
I'll give the pitch for the Celtics. I'm not saying that, obviously my pick is the Thunder, and the Celtics wouldn't even be.
One.
If anyone's going to do the Thunder one, I'm going to do the Thunder one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chill out there, Jacob. So, people are going to hate me for this, but I do think the Celtics they serve a purpose right now. We're in the era of parity in the NBA, and everyone is frustrated with that to a certain extent. They miss the era of super teams, and they miss when the Warriors were winning everything, and it was the Warriors and the Cavs every year, and that's the golden age, the golden age of the modern era of the NBA. We always think of the Warriors and the Cavs. In the Celtics, it's like they're Batman. They're Batman in the sense that they're not the hero that you need, but they're the hero that you deserve. Where this is what you asked for. This is what you wanted. You wanted a super team. You want this juggernaut, this dragon that has to be slayed every year. And every team is throwing out their best to try and take it down. And I think the Celtics winning, you can look at it from, every team tries to make their team out to be the underdog. You could say everyone doubts Jason Tatum, and, everyone calls Jaylen Brown a fake finals MVP, and Drew Holiday chokes in the playoffs, and Kristaps Porzingis is never healthy. And there's all these different slants that you can look at. Derek White's bald, and there's all these different things that you can point at and say, this team's the underdog. And it's like, no, they're not the underdog. For this story to work, for this narrative of them being like having their place of the cast of characters in the NBA, for this story to really have the best ending possible and to set it up for the best, path forward to further develop stories around the NBA, that's the pitch for the Celtics, is for them to truly cement themselves as the next great super team by going back to back.
It's a good villain.
You need a villain. Every story needs a villain.
You had a very long cast, but you reeled me in. By the end of it, you landed the fish. I liked that pitch a lot. Everybody wants a dragon that needs to be slain. I do think that piece of it is very much true.